Welcome back to Survive and Thrive. I'm Nathan Hurd, Chief Growth Officer with the Oxford Club. And today I have a quick idea to share. It's actually a question. It's something I try to ask myself about my own investments and portfolio at least once a quarter. And the question is this: am I holding on to any investments for the wrong reasons? I actually had an experience in my own portfolio, which I'll share with you in just a second, that prompted this message to you and this idea. But every few months and at least once a year, it's important that we as investors take a step back and assess all of our investments objectively. The more frequently you trade, the more often this should be done. As investors, it's very common to end up with kind of a mixed bag of investments, especially over time. And, maybe we bought a stock that we heard about a tip from a friend, or an announcement that we heard in the news or on TV. Or maybe it was an instinct we had, right, about a certain company or sector. Maybe you've inherited investments a long time ago or recently. Maybe you have a variety of investments from different newsletters or research sources that you look to. Either way, it's important with regularity to take stock of what you own and ask yourself, is there anything that you're holding on to for the wrong reasons? Let me give you some of the things that happen that you may be familiar with that cause us to hold things longer than we should. Maybe we had a sell stop or an intended level that we were going to cut our losses and it just slipped by us. We were busy. We didn't have an actual sell stop in place. Now we're sitting on a bigger loss than we intended. Maybe something has fundamentally changed with the outlook of the company or your original investment thesis, which is just a fancy way of saying the reason you bought the stock to begin with. Like new leadership. Maybe there's a new CEO or new executive leadership. Maybe there's a change in the marketplace. Maybe the competitive landscape has changed. Maybe economic trends that affect the investment are shifting. Maybe, and this happens fairly often to us as investors as well, when the markets take a major downturn and then rebound, many of the stocks that are dragged down in that collective downturn rebound and then continue to go higher. This has happened over and over again throughout history. However, in these downturns, some companies don't rebound, or they don't rebound nearly as quickly. And we as investors may be sitting on big losses that occur in those downturns, just waiting for it to come back. We don't want to take that loss. And this can go on for years or forever. So let me tell you about the company that this happened to me with recently. I held a company called Activision Blizzard. They make video games. They make some of the biggest video games in the world, like World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Guitar Hero, and others. If you've never heard of these games, they are huge. And this company is an industry leader. They're a technology leader in this space. Lots of potential there. However, they were hit with a big lawsuit recently, alleging civil rights violations, equal pay violations. And it's come out since that there's a toxic culture, sexual harassment, all kinds of stuff that doesn't look or sound good. Now, whatever comes of these lawsuits, this does not look good. In fact, some of the senior leadership has shifted. It's just, there's a big shakeup inside the business. And this really does change things fundamentally for the reasons that I originally bought them. So I had a decision to make. I have to look at this objectively. As much as I like the prospects of the business, for the moment, things have changed. It's important to remember as investors that when we don't want to take losses, we have to remember that investment losses counteract investment gains from a tax standpoint. In fact, it's slightly better to take a short-term capital loss, less than 12 months, than a long-term one. They both counteract taxes, but as you know, as most of us know, short-term capital gains are higher as a percentage than long-term capital gains. Short-term capital losses are more beneficial than long-term capital losses. So it's better to cut your losses. And these losses, if you don't have capital gains to offset, they can offset ordinary income from a federal income tax standpoint, up to $3,000 per year. And if you have losses that exceed that, they can be rolled over into future years. So these losses can have an advantage or a benefit. And there's an opportunity cost with every investment. If we're sitting and holding something and things have changed and we're holding it for the wrong reasons, that money is not invested somewhere else where it can flourish and grow. Even if we've had to take a loss, we can get the tax benefit and we can put it to work elsewhere. So all of this brings us back to the main question here. The first question I started with, which is, are we holding any investments for the wrong reasons? And if so, what's happened and what do we need to do about it? Do we need to let go? And sometimes that's the best thing we can do as investors to move forward. Um, if you have any questions or insight or experience about this in your own life, I'd love to hear from you. Click the button below and just shoot me a note. But I hope this was helpful. And until next time, this has been Survive and Thrive. I wish you well.